Hello everyone and welcome to Handmade Not Hallmark. It's Amanda here. Today I have this cute little winter themed birthday card featuring some Lawn Fawn and Mama Elephant products. I want to thank you guys for coming back. I hope everyone had a wonderful new year and Christmas. I want to first apologize for not finishing my series. I got so caught up in the Christmas spirit and having a great time with my family that I just lost all track of time. But today for this card I am using the Joy to the Woods stamp set from Lawn Fawn and the Warm Fuzzy Hugs die from Mama Elephant. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some chipped sapphire and salty ocean distressings, and I'm going to ink blend this background piece that I have cut down using Bristol smooth paper. I'm just going to speed through this process. I wasn't too concerned about how blended the background was because the majority of it is going to be covered up, but I did want to make sure that I added some detail and texture. I wanted the edges to be darker than the center. I wanted the center to be a little bit lighter so that the sentiment could stand out a bit more. Just taking that salty ocean first and going around the outside, and then I'm taking the chipped sapphire and blending it in around the edges as well, keeping in mind that I want to keep that centerpiece nice and light. So I use that as my hold down point because if I touch around where the ink is at, it will leave fingerprints because the ink sets kind of on top of Bristol smooth paper instead of soaking in. I keep blending until I get the desired look I was going for, and I have enough blended to use my A2 Stitch Stax Dynamics from MFT. Now that I have that all blended, I'm going to clean up my work surface here and get this panel all nice and dry because I do want to do some heat embossing. I'm going to be using the Lawn Fawn embossing pen and some Brutus Monroe Alabaster white embossing powder. I'm just prepping this panel after I have it nice and dry with anti-static powder. And I didn't want a whole lot of snowflakes, I just wanted a few here and there. Again, most of this will be covered up with the sentiments and the trees. I just wanted to have something in the background. And I really like using this embossing pen. It makes really nice, fat round snowflakes. And if you did watch my Christmas series, you'll find out that this was one of my favorite techniques I used this season. And I just brushed away any unwanted embossing powder with a nice dry brush. Again, I wasn't overly concerned if there was some bits left over because, like I said, this was going to get covered up. Again, I really hope you guys had a wonderful holiday. I definitely did. I had family come in from out of town that we haven't seen in quite a while, and it was really nice to spend time with them. And that's why I got so caught up in, spending time with family that I completely blew past my series, and I do want to apologize. I'll try to bring those videos in, kind of filter them through. Maybe I'll bring them out around July for Christmas in July. So now that I have that all nice and dry, I'm going to take the largest A2 Stitch Stax die from the set from MFT and cut out this panel. And I like this because it leaves a nice stitching all the way around. Next, I already pre-cut my hill using the simple hillsides from Lawn Fawn. And I just like the way that this turned out. Just kind of eyeballing, making sure I had the background is exactly what I was looking for. And I also did some pre-stamping. I stamped the trees, the fox, and the little cardinal with some Memento Tuxedo black ink using my Misti stamp tool and some Neenah Solar White cardstock because I will be using my Copic markers. I'll get some music turned on here, and once the coloring is all finished, we'll come back and finish up together. once I was all finished with the coloring, I took the coordinating dies that come with this set and cut those out. And I really love this little fox. He's super sweet, and it's just a nice pop of color on this background here. So next, I wasn't 100% sure how I wanted to do this sentiment, but I know I wanted to use it for sure. So I cut it out using some Bristol paper as well as some black licorice cardstock because I wanted to add a drop shadow effect using the black. And I thought the white was too white, so I decided to take the ink blending tool that had the Salty Ocean ink on it and just added a little bit of color to that. I didn't have to re-ink it, there was plenty on there. And then I took my Tombow mono multi-glue and glued those two pieces together, making sure that I left a little bit overhanging for the drop shadow effect that I wanted to go with. And I really like this. I didn't want to add any more color. That's why I decided to go with the white sentiment, because I didn't want it to be the focal point. I wanted it to be a part of the sentiment, but I didn't want it to be the main focus. I wanted it to be kind of a part of the background. And I think it really helps with bringing in the white with the black on the trees. And the cardinal and the fox are kind of more of the pop of color on this card that I was going for, as well as the strip of the birthday sentiment. So I'm using the stamp set from Simon. I'm taking the happy birthday from it and I'm just cutting it in half with my scissors. It's not going to ruin the stamp at all. I can still butt them back up together if I want to use them as a stacked sentiment, but I wanted to use them more of a longer sentiment. So I have a piece here, piece of Simon Says Schoolhouse Red cardstock and my Misti tool, and I'm just lining up the stamps here so I can have a nice straight line, and I'm going to use my VersaFine as well as my Brutus Monroe Alabaster White Embossing Powder to do this. Once I get that all heated up, I'll get this strip cut out using my Fiskars paper trimmer. I was really pleased at how this card came out. I wasn't really sure what kind of card I wanted to do. I had created this card for my father for his birthday, and I didn't want to go with anything too cutesy. I wanted something that was a little more on the masculine side. That's why I chose this particular stamp set from Fawn, because the style's a little bit different than what they're doing nowadays. For the Snowdrift here, I wanted to make sure it had the same stitching around the edges as the rest of the panel, so I just took that same MFT die and went around and cut out that panel, or that piece, so that it matched all the way around. Again, using my Tombow mono multi-glue to attach that down. And I really like the way this card came out. I typically, when I make birthday cards, I always had like balloons and birthday presents and things like that. And I'm trying to kind of go for non-traditional birthday cards, something that's kind of more themed for the season. This is kind of the first time really that I've made a card, a winter-themed card that wasn't a Christmas card. And I was really pleased with the way it turned out. I'm using Christmas stamps, inherently Christmas stamps. They're meant for Christmas or for, the holidays. But I use them in a birthday card, and I think that's really great because that shows the versatility of the different stamps that you can get. You don't have to just save them for the Christmas or holidays. You can use them in different ways. So I didn't want to add too much dimension to this card. I wanted to make sure it stayed somewhat flat. The only thing I wanted to pop up was the actual happy birthday sentiment. So I glued everything down nice and flat using my Tombow mono multi-glue. And then I'm going to be using some Doris 3M foam strips to attach the happy birthday. And I wanted to add a little bit more down along the bottom with the fox, so I took the little footprints that come in that same stamp set and used my VersaFine ink just to add those couple of footprints like he was walking through the snow. And I think that just adds to the bottom. It's not super white down there. Then get my sentiment ready, trim it all out using my scissors, and attach it using those Doris 3M foam strips. I'm really excited for the new year. I have lots of ideas that I'm looking forward to doing. I can't wait to see what the companies come out with new this year. I'm starting to save my pennies now so that when all these releases come out, I'm prepared. So I hope you all are too. Get that cardinal attached up to the top. I wanted him to sit on top of that die cut there instead of on the trees. Next, I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to add a little bit of detail to the characters. I'm taking my Sakura black glaze pen and adding detail to their eyes here on the fox, as well as the cardinal, and to their little nose. Just kind of brightens them up a little bit. And then I took a white gel pen and added a couple of highlights on them. I didn't want to add too much. Like I said, I didn't want it to be too cutesy, but I just wanted to add a little bit of detail. And again, you could just leave this plain. You wouldn't have to add any detail. And I know this is a card for my dad, but I did end up adding a little bit of sparkle as well. I also have here some Snowdrifts from Lucy's Little Things, and I'm going to just add a couple more snowflakes here and there, just to add, you know, a tiny bit of dimension. Again, I didn't want to add too much depth to this card, but I did want to add a little bit of texture, and I think these add a nice bit of texture. And I'm using my Marvy Jewel Picker for this. Again, if you watched my Christmas series, you'll know that this Marvy Jewel Picker has become one of my favorite tools that I got this year. It's so helpful, and I don't have to struggle trying to get these, you know, different gems and sequins put on. And I think these little snowflakes add just the right amount of texture and detail. And then finally, that little bit of sparkle to the birthday sentiment. And then I want to add just a little bit to the snow because, you know, when the sun hits the snow, sometimes it does have a tendency to sparkle, and that's kind of what I was going for here. And that finishes up the panel. I'm going to get a piece of Neenah 110-pound cardstock, and I'm going to score it in half to create a top-folding A2 sized card. I'm going to score it at 5.5. So this is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch top-folding note card. And I'm trimming off. One of my snowflakes fell off. I didn't give it a chance to dry all the way. And then I couldn't find it, but I found it and just stuck it back on there, and everything was fine. I just wanted to trim off the top of those trees off the top of this panel here, just to kind of clean it up a little bit. I'm just going to use my Tombow Mono to glue this down. And that will finish up this card for today. Again, I want to thank you guys for coming by and sticking with me through the holiday season, and I really hope you all had a wonderful time and a wonderful new year. I look forward to sharing with you some cards I've got this year, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any more videos I share here on my channel. Again, have a blessed day, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see ya. Bye!